Before you click on that skip ad button right there, I want you to ask yourself one question. Who are you? And here's another question. What is generally one of the first things you will ask somebody when you meet them for the first time? What do you do? Here in American culture, we place so much value on what a person does that it actually defines who they are. But I choose to believe the essence of an individual is defined more by what they stand for and what they believe in, rather than what they do to make a living in today's society. And if you've yet to click out of this video, you're probably asking yourself another question. Who the hell is this guy? Well,
I am Nurmak, realist, humanitarian, activist, poet, rapper, visionary. I still believe in the power of dreams, and I'm not so naive to think that everything is the way that it seems. I've seen people succumb to their greatest fears and eventually come to hate what they see in the mirror. I've also seen people rise up over their insecurities and not let expectations or standards dictate their beliefs. I've seen decent, hard-working people get pushed over by corporations. I've also seen the defeat of evil when a driven few find their true inspiration. I've been a witness to a world that spends more time establishing borders than breaking down barriers. I live in a country that spends less money on education than aircraft carriers. There's been more lies told by politicians than the number of signed petitions. And what's worse is the amount of individuals who are blind to the corruption, because although they claim the crime rate is at an all-time low, inequality is at an all-time high. Over the years, I've observed the growing separation of classes, and although we no longer own slaves according to race, slavery is still practiced. The minority are confining the masses, and unfortunately, the majority view this madness through rose-colored glasses. I live in a society where it's normal to pass someone sleeping on the street, right in front of the house of another who has way more than they need. I grew up in a community where fat girls feel intellectually less than because they're physically more than, and skinny boys are made to feel weak and unimportant. I can't be the only one who's amazed that only now are we beginning to accept the gays, as if they have the ability to change the relationships they desire. And why should they? People coming out publicly shocked as they watch and told them to stop, but who are we to put love in a box? If money really talks, tell me, what words would it choose to use about the backwards ideologies that are so predominantly manipulating the very philosophies established to protect the well-being of the human race? Seriously, all it takes nowadays is a few opinions for someone to be considered a philosopher. At what point do the decisions we make end up sacrificing the very reasons we made them? A right decision made for the wrong reasons is a wrong decision. How do we justify this condition claiming it's for the security of the people when it's infringing on those same people's security? I don't understand how people can think one set of principles is true in one location, yet disregard those same principles in another situation. I feel sorrow for those people, but I'm afraid for tomorrow's generation who will grow up in a time when the very essence of life will be a commodity, an unaffordable luxury of the rich controlled by monopolies, and we just stand by watching these atrocities. Everything I see now is pointing to this reality, but it doesn't have to be. Are you aware that all behavior is learned? Since your very birth, you've been developing your sense of individuality through observation. How ironic is it that in order to become who we are, we have to watch others be themselves. In this sense, we've been conditioned to strengthen our attitudes toward our own singleness by others. To figure out who we are, we must discover who we aren't. And in all actuality, I'm just like you. Every decision I have ever made has led me to where I am right now. And right now, I'm ready for each and every one of us to rise up and be the best person we possibly can together. Because the universe is blind to you and me, it simply sees us. We are the only ones who judge. A higher power couldn't possibly comprehend the fuss of your God's better than his God, but less than her God, because their God said that our God doesn't exist. I mean, my God, when are we going to come to the conclusion that any God that is tolerant of the terrible things we do in God's name isn't a true God? And truly, I don't claim to know the truth. I know that I'm true to my own truth, and the longer we continue to live in cluelessness and carelessness, the farther away from our own truth we stray. And that's not what I want. For you, for me, for us. So whether you're paving your path or following a trail, I hope you will help me with lifting the veil.